there have been some major, and I do mean major, misunderstandings on behalf of the surveyor or the surveyor team. For example, industry dictates that if a sterile barrier system has storage, and if you're event-related, then storage is storage. There are no timing requirements or limitations. And failure on the part of some organizations have been to not understand that the FDA does not discount in any way that one tray has had 48-hour storage in the cleared 510K of 2006.
You're listening to Beyond Clean, the global voice of sterile processing.
Every day they slay the dragons of healthcare-acquired infections and dangerous microbial fire breathers. While you may not see them during your next hospital stay, they will be there ensuring the safest possible surgeries by skillfully wielding their disinfecting weapons of mass microbial destruction. They are sterile processing professionals. And this is Beyond Clean, the central nexus for the people, processes, and products that are pushing the global sterile processing industry forward. Join us every week as we introduce you to the unsung heroes, leaders, and innovators who are fighting dirty around the globe. And now, it's time to go Beyond Clean.
On this Vendor Spotlight episode of Beyond Clean, we speak with Barbara Harmar and Dave Billman from Innovative Sterilization Technologies, also known as IST. Barbara is the VP of Clinical Services for IST and is a highly skilled, knowledgeable, and visionary perioperative nursing leader with over 43 years of administrative, clinical, and operational management in acute care hospitals and internal and external consulting experience in both inpatient, outpatient, and multi-campus healthcare facilities. She's the founder and president of Medisys Consultants Incorporated, which is a highly respected and experienced consulting company for over 33 years, successfully providing medical and surgical consulting services to over 330 clients nationally and internationally, with a demonstrated record of increasingly challenging healthcare leadership positions. She is sought after as a speaker for local, regional, and national symposiums and conventions. Dave Billman is the Chief Operating Officer for IST. He's been with the company since their inception in 2013, and he is a retiree of AT&T and has held a number of positions in his 28 years prior to retiring. Dave holds an MBA from Niagara University and is responsible for the day-to-day operations of IST, and the majority of employees at IST report up through Dave. He is skilled in management and organization effectiveness and is a problem solver. Dave works closely with the regulatory side of the business and has had hands-on experience with the development and deployment of the One Tray product. So, Lindsay, I'm really excited because we're going to talk about One Tray today, but we're also going to talk about a new innovative technology that's building on their goal of helping hospitals and surgery centers operate more efficiently. And so this is going to be a good one.
Justin, I'm also really excited to talk to Dave and Barbara for two reasons. The first is I work in a surgery center in that outpatient setting where we're seeing more total hips and total knees, seeing how their technology really has an impact on the throughput of those instruments, and the efficiency of processing those instruments is going to be huge for our listeners. And also, it turns out Barbara was a surveyor, and so she's going to talk about the surveying process and sort of setting people up for success when communicating with a surveyor, especially around new technology.
Yes, I'm very excited to jump into this one. So we're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
As a reminder, you can subscribe to Beyond Clean on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, or search for Beyond Clean on your favorite podcast application. We can also be heard on the Sterile Education app, available on iTunes and Android. Follow Beyond Clean on Twitter at Beyond Clean Info, Facebook.com/Beyond Clean Podcast, LinkedIn.com/company/Beyond Clean. Our Instagram is Beyond Clean Podcast, and on YouTube, YouTube.com/Beyond Clean for Fighting Dirty with Hank Balch and Real Talk with Bob Mars. All Season 8 episodes will be certified for CE credits in a single package with one quiz and certificate at the end of the season. Select Beyond Clean podcast episodes are worth points toward the CNOR or CSSM credentials through CCI. Beyond Clean also offers clinical education, social media, and podcast consulting for vendors, along with survey preparation and remote consulting services to hospitals, surgery centers, and clinics. Is your facility survey ready? Email info@beyondclean.net for more information. And finally, we are excited to announce Beyond the Tour, a compelling and gritty new film series that is shining a spotlight on innovators and disruptors in healthcare manufacturing. The premiere episode of Beyond the Tour will release late April, so tune in to Beyond Clean social media pages for details. We'll be right back after a short break.
Joining us now is Dave Billman, Chief Operating Officer, and Barbara Harmar, VP of Clinical Services for IST. And we're really excited to have you both on the show today. We're going to talk a lot about what IST is doing, specifically One Tray and an exciting new product, EZ-TRAX, as well. So a quick introduction for both of you. Dave, thanks for coming on. We had a chance to meet in person several weeks back, and I'm excited to talk to you today.
Thanks. I appreciate to be on here today.
And Barbara, this isn't your first time on the podcast by any means. You were actually a very early supporter of the show as a guest, and so welcome back.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be back with you all.
So let's start with Dave and just give a company introduction, maybe an overview and background of the history of the company, how it was formed, and who you are.
Sure. Justin Lindsay, again, thank you for letting us participate on this podcast. So IST has been around since 2013, and it's an interesting story. We started in Dayton, Ohio. We're originally all from Dayton, Ohio area. A bunch of guys got together under the leadership of Scott Cohen, our CEO, who had the brain idea of this product. He had heard about the technology. Never been brought to the marketplace before, and he decided to do the startup company of innovative sterilization technology, as you call it, IST. And so we started with really 5 people, and it's really all Ohio-based business that we have utilized throughout this building of this company. And we're still Ohio-based and trying to keep 99% of the product right here manufactured in the state of Ohio. We do use a distributorship model. We don't have direct sales force ourselves. We use a distributorship model. And we thought it was well overdue for new technology to come to the market in the sterilization field. There really wasn't any changes in over 40-some years before we entered the marketplace. So that's kind of a little bit of background on what we did in 2013 and put this together and bring a new product to the marketplace.
Dave, thank you so much for sharing a little background about IST and the role that you play in the industry. One thing that I would love to learn from you is, what is your idea of what the state of the market is? What problems are you solving? What problems do you see that have existed for a long time that your company is able to meet head on?
Lindsay, that's a great question. As we entered the market back in 2013, there was a change going on in the sterilization industry as far as, everybody wanted to do more with less. There was more surgeries being performed. Hospitals were really pushing more instrumentation up to the OR. The sterile processing, central processing folks were just asked to keep doing more with less. And that seemed like the mentality. How do you push more through the pipeline without adding any more resources? So the market really needed a change. So we felt that the product One Tray was that solution to that problem of doing more with less. And we were able to bring this technology to the marketplace and share with people and share with the facilities that they can use less resources and produce more product through the pipeline by utilizing One Tray. And because of the distinct difference that One Tray offers as a rigid sterilization container.
And you didn't just stop there either, and very much in that increased efficiency goal that you have as a company, you've continued to innovate, and you have an exciting new product that I actually had a chance to see in person when we did meet several weeks back, and that's the EZ-TRAX. Can you talk a little bit about how that piles right on to increasing efficiency and what additional problems that product was designed to solve?
Sure, Justin. As one of Scott's main thought processes as he formed this company was being a total solution. And as he looked around the industry and he realized that OneTray was bringing solutions to the central processing department, his thought process was looking forward. And he saw that hospitals were going to see more surgeries leaving them, going to the outpatient setting. And unfortunately, the outpatient setting didn't have all the capabilities as far as size and scope that a hospital has today. So we partnered with a company called K1 Medical, who had a great new product called EZ-TRAX. And EZ-TRAX was a way to take your traditional, and we focus on orthopedics. So let's say, for example, knee set, a traditional 6 or 7 pan orthopedic knee set that gets wrapped or puts in a rigid container and taken to the OR. EZ-TRAX allows you to take those same set of instruments that you use today, put it into our universal knee set, which is only 3 pans, and then you put those inside of the OneTrays. So now we're delivering 3 trays, if you will, to the OR versus those 6 or 7 wrap trays. And you can imagine what that does for the back table, less instrumentation. So once again, going back to this total solution idea, EZ-TRAX fit nicely into the OneTray scenario of bringing total solutions to both the sterile processing department and the OR. So we partnered up with the EZ-TRAX product, and we're now offering that as basically 2 offerings, a total knee set and a total hip set, which we call the universal set. So we can basically take a hip or knee and knock it down, all the same instruments, into a 3-tray setup and deliver them to the OR in a OneTray. So a lot of efficiencies, there's upsides for everybody in the supply chain, from the OEMs, not having to have as many sets on hand at the hospital, to the sterile processing, central processing department, not have to wrap or sterilize 6, 7 containers, to the OR and the back table, not having all that instrumentation, and then bring it back forward to the cleaning side of the business in decom, not having to process as many trays as you would in a normal 6, 7 tray setup. So there's a lot of solutions that both the 2 products, OneTray and EZ-TRAX, can bring to a facility.
Now, Dave, you really struck a chord with me there. I actually work in an outpatient setting in sterile processing. It's something that I love to do. And when you made reference to taking that 6 to 8 trays for a total knee and knocking it down to 3 trays, just thinking about the throughput in sterile processing, thinking about all of the efficiencies that would create just in that one procedure, that's a profound improvement that your company and that your products are able to make. I do want to talk a little bit about some things that differentiate you from your competition. We talk about innovation, we talk about these solutions, but let's talk specifically about the difference between IST and the solutions you provide and some of the competition on the market.
Sure, Lindsay. I would say, simply put, if we talk about the OneTray, it's faster and it offers a lifetime warranty. And let me kind of expound on that a little bit. This tray was cleared on a 4-minute, 270-degree cycle with no dry time, and it was cleared for storage. If you think about a normal processing of just, let's say, a wrapped or a rigid container in today's environment, it's going to take somewhere between 2 to 3 hours from the time you put it in the sterilizer, close the door, to the time you open the sterilizer and exit the sterilizer and take it to the OR. With OneTray and the technology around OneTray, you're able to do that in about 20 minutes, and it can be stored. And so the question is, what's more efficient? How do I process the instrumentation that is coming down through the pipeline from the more surgeries that are being done? And it just offers a much more efficient way to do it. The nice thing about OneTray is our customers don't worry about repairs. We're big in the marketplace about making sure your product is at the original manufacturer specs way it left. So we offer a lifetime warranty, which is unheard of in the medical device industry. But basically, when you buy a OneTray, you don't worry about paying for repairs. If we can fix it, we replace it. The only responsibility of our customers is to send it back here to Dayton, Ohio. And if we can't fix it back to our manufacturer specifications, then we will replace it at no charge. We think that is huge for our customers. It takes that worry out of the equation. They don't have to think about that. It's not a van pulling up in your parking lot with a guy with a mallet banging on rigid containers. It's going back to the manufacturer and being fixed back to our specs, because we're big on making sure that these rigid containers are always in optimal condition.
Yeah, and we had a chance to see the manufacturing, and they are of great construction and a very solid product that way. And I just think that's a tremendous additional value that you're bringing to back that up to your customers. So well done, Dave. And I think we'll bring in Barbara now to talk a lot about something that she has a great deal of experience with, but really is also one of the biggest challenges in the industry for your company. So, Barbara, do you want to talk a little bit about your background and then also take a deeper dive into surveyors and really the educational effort that IST has put forward in the industry?
So thank you. I am very proud to say that I was a surveyor in this country for just under 25 years. During that time frame, I conducted CMS surveys and life safety code inspections once deemed status came into being in 1996. So, just shy of 25 years, I've trained a lot of future surveyors. I've worked with a lot of surveyors. And I've probably touched about 300 organizations in the country while I surveyed. I only stopped surveying a few years ago, and there was a good reason why I did that. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit. A surveyor's role when they come to an organization is to apply the state guidelines, the accreditation standards, and or the Medicare certification conditions of coverage. Now, according to what their purpose is in coming, if they're conducting a state-only survey or they're conducting a deemed status while they're doing accreditation with the same time at the same sitting, Medicare, or if they're just doing Medicare by themselves. And so that's what their role should be. However, every surveyor is supposed to be objective and leave their opinions at the door of your facility. A surveyor, while they should be applying the regulations, the standards, and or certification conditions of coverage, they have to apply those to the materials and the exhibits that an organization would share with them, namely their policies and procedures, documentation of your compliance with reviewing materials, orientation and training, etc. And it's fair game for an organization to understand going into this kind of a visit, if you will, in quotation marks, that a surveyor can ask any question of anyone in the organization. And there are three really important ways for an organization to respond to a surveyor. The first way is through verbal explanations. Now, a verbal explanation can be given, but it must be in conjunction if it is also a standard or a regulation that requires a written response. So items that are not required to be in writing, a verbal explanation can be sufficient. A second way is through the written materials that I've just pretty much outlined in this conversation. And then the third is a surveyor can observe through direct observation and watch what's going on in the facility, so that they can then ask questions, as well as the organization can provide explanations as to why they do what they do.
Now, Barbara, I do have a quick question about this, just because I know it's top of mind for a lot of sterile processing professionals. When a surveyor comes in, obviously there's a lot of times that, I won't call it panic, but there's that moment where you take a deep breath in and you're like, okay, are we prepared for this? Do we have what we need? Can you give a little bit of an example of what a back and forth might look like, or maybe should look like, so that we can kind of set the listeners up for success? Maybe give your secret to success for interacting with a surveyor, especially when it comes to newest innovations in technology.
So I think one of the first tenets of the survey process itself is to remember why surveys were conducted. And surveys were to be conducted to make the organization better. What is going to make me better from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning? How am I constantly going to be improving? And so it should never be punitive. And quite frankly, that is the reason why I don't survey anymore, is because there seemed to be an awful lot of subjectivity that began to appear during the survey process. Surveys are only as good as the surveyors that are sent to perform your survey. So in looking at the surveyors themselves, what should you be able to expect from them? Professionalism, factual information, a sharing, believe it or not, a sharing of information, and the ability to listen even when there's a disagreement that might occur on a particular subject matter. Surveyors today, when they come to SPDs specifically, are being trained and instructed to ask for instructions for use, to be assured that an organization is following their IFUs. But here's the loaded question. Does the surveyor really understand what's contained in that IFU? And one of the current issues with surveys in the United States today is that individuals that have been tasked with surveying areas that they have no experience in, nor do they understand. In fact, there are too many that think, and I'll highlight that, think they know more than the person who's performing the job. And the one point I want to get across to SPD staff especially is that it is your responsibility to be able to explain to any visitor, wherever they're coming from, what you do and why you do it. Now, the surveying accrediting organizations, the Department of Health, usually train their own inspectors to perform according to the state regulations. But the accrediting organizations, as I was beginning to say, the accrediting organizations have different methodologies as to what they do to provide and how they provide a training program. The length varies according to the accreditation company. So all surveyors are not created equal from the get-go, and then they're further not created equal because one accreditation organization trains them differently from another. And there are many organizations that have in recent years, in the last 5 to 8 years, have decided to switch from one branded accreditation organization to another. And in that switch, they are truly recognizing the fact that surveyors are not all operating on the same playing field. So it's very important that SPD staff understand that the interchange, the play back and forth between a surveyor and a staff member in an organization is normal and expected. And then being normal and expected, I would hope that the administrative wing of the hospital would allow that fruitful conversation to go on, because actually the education that's being exchanged is bidirectional. Trust me, surveyors are learning. There aren't many surveyors out there that have a background in sterilization. Meanwhile, hopefully it's a two-way street, and the SPD staff that is participating in the survey process is also gaining some education and insight into how they can better their organization.
So really what you're saying is the secret to success when interacting with a surveyor is really to just know your stuff, know why you're doing what you're doing, and have the documentation to back you up. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And another point of that, Lindsay, is that the secret to success is that it doesn't start during the survey or in the preparation for the survey. It starts during the orientation of the employee. It continues to make sure that they're competent. And then it continues again when their supervisory staff provides unannounced direct observation. And needless to say, we all go through a battery of in-service education, which is important to keep us up with what we're doing. And last but not least, it is the responsibility of the managerial staff, the supervisory staff, to provide a performance evaluation that is true and accurate and something that has stretching goals in it, because most people do better when they have a goal to stretch for rather than something that can be accomplished 2 days after the evaluation is given.
Now, as it is with many disruptive and innovative technologies, not everybody understands it right away. And as a result, I think surveyors have had an impact or affected OneTray customers. Can you talk about that some as well?
Sure. Let me start off with the fact that, and I know that we heard it in the early days of OneTray, was that it seemed that users of new technology really came away with the thought that new technology equates to something bad. Well, new technology doesn't equate to something necessarily bad. We have to adapt in our changing environment in healthcare all the time. Throughout my entire professional career, things that I did when I first started in the 70s is no longer done today because we found a better solution. That's really one of the advantages to what we have with our product, OneTray. There have been some major, and I do mean major, misunderstandings on behalf of the surveyor or the surveyor team. For example, industry dictates that if a sterile barrier system has storage, and if you're event-related, then storage is storage. There are no timing requirements or limitations. And a failure on the part of some organizations have been to not understand that the FDA does not discount in any way that one tray has had 48-hour storage in the cleared 510K of 2006. It's a fact. The information in a warning letter that was dated almost a year ago, back on March the 20th, 2019, states that the FDA had a disagreement with the extension of shelf life. Now, we don't agree with that. However, there's just one fun fact in that. You cannot extend shelf life if you've never had it. So if you're event-related, one tray can be treated as such and can remain on the shelf per the organization's policies. We've also, for another example, quick example, we've been taught that water in a tray is bad. But in a one tray, it's normal and expected because that moisture that is contained in a one tray didn't come from outside of the tray, external to the tray, which is what a wet pack is. It was tested as part of the 510K, and it was found to be sterile. And yes, in any other packaging system currently that has been cleared by the FDA, if you have a wet pack, you must reject that tray, but not so with a one tray. And that has been another hard area that not only surveyors, but even SPD individuals have had a hard time wrapping their arms around. A third example that I'd like to share with you is a misunderstanding when an organization, an accreditation organization, demands that you get a manufacturer to state on the medical devices letterhead that it's okay to use in a one tray. So I have a question, having been a surveyor. Why is this organization surveying on a principle that they don't understand? AMI FT79 provides for a mechanism called user verification. That will show that following the sterility parameters of a medical device, time and temperature, and the storage and dry time of a packaging system, a tray can achieve 10 to the negative 6 sterility assurance level, or in much simpler English terms, microbial lethality. This requirement, though, that's being asked of organizations around the country is bogus. So let me ask you a question. Do you have anything from a medical device company on their letterhead that says that you can over-sterilize an instrument or an implant? If you're mixing items in a tray with different cycle parameters, aren't you doing the same thing? You're not following the IFU of the instrument or the implant. So why is there bias with this? Is it just ignorance? But as a clinician, I find this not to be acceptable. Patient safety can be at risk when you're told to use an item off-label. Changing the clearance from an item that has storage by industry definition from terminal to IUSS. Before a packaging system can be used as IUSS, it must have undergone testing and clearance as a packaging system that can be used for IUSS. You can't just use a tray and decide that you're going to make it an IUSS container. And an IUSS container, there is no storage. It has to be used immediately, and it can't be saved for a future case. So ultimately, with this ball of confusion that has been perpetrated by an organization that has worth to change an organization to make it better, they've actually done the opposite. One tray was not cleared as IUSS, and it has storage.
So, Barbara, education is such a key focus, and obviously that's something that we have a great deal of involvement in ourselves as Beyond Clean, but it's a big part of our belief system in how to help this industry move forward. And so lots of education is provided by IST, but what about specifically around surveyors? What kind of information do you have available for your customers to help get them prepared?
So, of course, when it comes to your direction, you need to have a copy of our IFU, and it needs to be the current IFU. We make that available on our website under the Customer tab. So that's number one, because we are very good about saying when a question is asked, what does the IFU state? What have we told you in the IFU? And the education then begins from there. And no question is simple. Every question is important. And so I think starting with that basic premise, that's what leads us into the exchange of educational material to each and every one of our customers that choose to accept it. One of the things that's happening, though, and I understand we're in the world of social media and that things are going on, but part of the problem is we constantly have individuals that go to blogs and look for blogs for information on products. Actually, what you really want to do is you want to go back to the manufacturer. Who knows it better than the manufacturer? Anybody can hide behind a keyboard, and you don't know who you're in fact exchanging information with when you're on a blog. I understand people like opinions, but opinions have no basis when it comes to patient safety. That is just a key to a basic premise of education about anything, not just one tray. So further with our education, I am certainly available. My phone number is out there. Our email is out there. You can certainly reach the office directly, and they can put you in touch with me. During an actual survey, I've had a few opportunities, because most people don't take us up on it, but I've had a few opportunities where I've actually gotten on the phone live with the survey team and explained to them and answered any questions that they might have had that perhaps the organization couldn't answer. But again, remember, the golden rule is that everything is fair game and that you need to educate yourself before a couple weeks before the survey. And so we are welcome to answer any kinds of questions or concerns or explain in further detail information that has been shared with any of our customer base.
Barbara, I think that was actually the first time I've heard a manufacturer say and actually offer up the opportunity to jump on the phone with the surveying team and the end user to make sure that there is no confusion surrounding the technology. And I think that that's an incredible value add. And you actually teed up this next section. You mentioned social media, and there are ways in which the healthcare professionals in our industry can interact with OneTray on social media. And Dave, if you wouldn't mind telling us what's going on with OneTray on social media these days.
Oh, Lindsay, thank you. I'm glad to talk about it. And I'm encouraged because as Beyond Clean is doing a phenomenal job in our industry trying to educate and really share knowledge, we're taking the same approach. And I thank you for making that comment about a manufacturer doing this, because we have nothing to hide. Our books are wide open. We share everything with our customers. There's nothing to hide. But we encourage people to follow us on Facebook and connect to us with LinkedIn, because we're doing a lot of posting of educational information, not just about OneTray, but about the industry in general. As you heard Barbara do a great job talking about her vast knowledge. Barbara and I both participate in ST79 and Work Group 40, which works on the whole full-blown ST79 documentation. And we're big about knowledge. We're big about sharing knowledge and education. So we are looking forward to creating on Facebook and in LinkedIn a new group, OneTray Questions. And our goal is to put people in touch with industry experts and OneTray experts where they can get the answers to questions they may have, factual questions. You know, we're a science-based industry, but sometimes we don't want to use science to answer questions. And one thing at IST we do is we focus on the science. We have a boatload of science to prove up everything that this tray can do. And sometimes people turn a blind eye to science, which is unfortunate. So we're going to take a real hard step and approach in 2020 to do a lot of educating and really sharing of knowledge. So, you know, again, you heard those saying knowledge is power. Well, it's important to know knowledge. I'll give you an example. We get calls all the time, you know, can you do implants in a OneTray? Well, of course you can. See, what people don't understand is the FDA clear sterilized packaging systems, whether you're wraps or rigid containers, to sterilize medical devices. If you go to their website and you pull up the word medical devices, you'll see the word implant in there. But people don't know that. But yet we'll get calls, can I do implants in a one tray? And I promise you, my friends over at the wrap side of the business don't get calls and ask, can they do implants? But they are cleared just like the one tray was to sterilize medical devices. So we feel it's important that we go forward in this year and really spend a lot of time educating and sharing knowledge. And we tell your listeners, as well as our customers, you can contact us through our website. You can call us here at the office. You can email us at info@onetray.com. We're not shy about talking about this product, as you can tell. We want to make sure that people know the facts, they have the facts on hand, but more importantly, they know the why behind everything. As Barbara mentioned, and this is probably one of my sore subjects too, is I don't like people hiding behind a keyboard and a mouse when they don't have the facts. I don't have any problem sharing the facts, but it's important that everybody understand that we're going to be out in social media, okay, and we're going to be out there engaging our customers and potential customers with the facts. Hashtag know the facts is so important to us because if you know the facts, then this is a very simple, easy solution for everyone. So the thought process for us is spend a lot of time educating and sharing knowledge, and we're excited to work with Beyond Clean and everybody else in the industry to get that knowledge out.
Excellent. Well, a lot of knowledge packed into this vendor spotlight, and I just want to thank you both for coming on. First, Dave, really appreciate all that you're doing, especially to connect with people on social media, because that's something that we definitely have in common, Dave. And Barbara, I think it really helps that you have that experience as a surveyor and having done the job and really be able to help your customers be prepared, and the knowledge that you share just in general for everybody in the industry, and not limiting the educational content that you're putting out, so critical. So thanks so much to both of you for coming on today.
Well, we really appreciate it letting us have the opportunity to talk about this great product. And, I guess I just want to leave everybody with, just learn the facts, learn the science. That'll answer all the questions.
And for me, from a clinical perspective, this is the product that does provide one standard of care to each and every one of your patients.
That was Barbara Harmar, VP of Clinical Services, and Dave Billman, Chief Operating Officer for IST. And Lindsay, we've had a chance to get to know this group quite a bit over the last couple of months, and we've even seen the new EZ-TRAX product in person. And I think Barbara's experience as a surveyor can be extremely helpful to one tray customers because, as they mentioned, the concept of moisture in a tray is new, and it's very different and not always something that culturally is easily adopted without the amount of education that they put forth. So I really think they're tackling this the right way.
I agree with you 100%. And I think her emphasis on talking about setting users up for success when they go through surveys and when they talk about their willingness to step in when necessary to set people up for success in either implementation or answering surveyor questions or whatever it may be, that education piece is huge for them because it is an innovative technology and it is different than other products on the market that are in the same category as their product is.
Well, another great episode, and I love the fact that we didn't just talk about their products, but we also had a lot of education built into this one around how to prepare for a survey, which is always a hot topic in this industry. So another good one in the books for this vendor spotlight, and that's going to do it for this week. As a reminder, you can help support Beyond Clean by subscribing to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. We'd appreciate a rating and a review because your feedback is important to the show. If you have any topics that you'd like us to cover on a future episode, or if you'd like to share a picture anonymously on our Instagram page, just send an email to info@beyondclean.net. On behalf of Lindsay and myself, thank you for listening to this Vendor Spotlight episode of Beyond Clean.